Alrighty, we are starting up again, and today is going to be an interesting little take that we got going on. As you can see up here, we're going to be printing a 32 millimeter miniature. Miniatures that would normally be printed out on a resin printer, but we're going to print it out on the Creality K2 Plus. So the big question is it going to work? I don't know. We'll have to find out. I was encouraged to do this because some viewer that is on my stream from time to time, he's been printing out some miniatures for tabletop gaming, and I was like, hey, he does it with a Creality High. Hello, Star Killer, you know who you are. And with that, I started looking at some others, and I was like, you know what? Some other people printing out miniatures. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens. So we're going to print out a miniature, and we're going to take a look and we'll see if a FDM printer that is using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, that's the stock nozzle on the Creality K2 Plus, at a layer height of 0.08, and see what we get. This is going to be interesting because I've never printed, well, I shouldn't say I've never printed anything this small. I've done some really small benchies, but that was at the 0.4, and I put like 0.2 layer height. I did 0.16 layer height, and it was like, okay, it was a while back. I don't even have them anymore. Maybe that's because they were too small. So anyway, to backtrack, we're going to print a miniature. And so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take a look at this. And here we are. Not that one. We want this one. This is the page we want. So here we are in Creality Print, and this is the miniature. So we've got this orc dude that I can't even remember where I got him from. But he's got some massive detail. I mean, check out the details on that. That is one incredibly detailed dude. And yeah, I mean, if you look down here, I mean, and swing around to the back, he has just got some incredible details. So will it print is the question. And we also have the base, and we had to go through and do the scaling. We had to reduce the scaling. Can't remember what the scaling was because this is supposed to be a bigger, much bigger one. So, but we're going to go ahead and we went through all the little things to figure out and to see all the settings. We'll go through that. It's going through and it's slicing, and after we get the slice and figure out how long this is going to take, I'm thinking about a couple hours maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. George pops in, says hello. Hello, George. We're seeing if we can print a miniature, 32 millimeters. So it's going to take us, as we see up here, about 8 hours and 12 minutes. Holy crap. At 0.8, that is crazy. At 17.6 grams, 35 cents. So 8 hours. Interesting. Interesting. We need to change some stuff here. Let's change this all to, we'll change it all to red, and that way at least it'll all be the same color. And then we'll go ahead and we'll slice the plate again, and we'll see what happens at 0.08. With 7% infill density, we'll have 2 walls. And what are we looking at? 2 hours and 21 minutes. Okay. Ooh, holy crow. That's a little bit of a discrepancy there. That's a lot better. 2 hours and 21 minutes. Still 35 cents is what we end up seeing there. 17.66 grams. About 5.92 meters of filament. So we're going to go over here and we'll take a look and see what our settings are going to be. So our global settings, we've got 0.08, and let's see what else do we got that's interesting down here. Everything else is the same. Everything is stock on here. And then if we go to strength, we're going to do 2 walls. And if we go down to here, we're going to do 7% infill. We could probably even do 5%. I mean, because it's a miniature. Let's change that to 5. And then we're going to use adaptive cubic for the infill pattern. And so we got the rest of that. Everything is good to go. We left that stock. The only thing I changed down here was the overhang speed, 60 millimeters a second. So that was recommended to me by somebody who does a hell of a lot of printing. It's a guy named Gary. I can't remember which. He does life-size models and other stuff. Pretty incredible. So that's one of his settings. So I was like, hey, well, let's do that. And I haven't had any problems yet. When we go to our supports, it was recommended to do Tree Auto in Slim. And we should probably do on the build plate only. And it says only create support for critical regions, including sharp tail, cantilever, etc. I think we'll just leave that. We'll do on the build plate only, so we'll have to redo this. And then we're going to do the top Z distance is, we're going to keep that the same, the 0.24 millimeters for the top Z distance, so that way we can get those supports that just fall off like meat off a barbecue bone that's been smoked for 24 hours. And the base pattern, interface layers 2, I think interface pattern, we're going to leave that default. Everything else is going to be good there. And we're going to go down. We're not doing multi-filament, so we don't have to worry about that. And when we come down here to brim type, we're going to do auto brim. And so that way everything can be on the plate. Now I just washed the plate and put a little bit of glue stick on there because it's, if you kind of look at, if we go back here, and we're using the Creality Smooth plate, and there it says, please apply glue before print. So I just thought that was kind of funny, as people's like, oh, you don't need to put glue on your plate, and it's like, it's right up there as plain as day. I thought that was kind of funny. So this is what we've got. And let's go ahead and slice this plate again, and we'll see how this goes. And we'll run through the layers, and we'll see what it looks like on the inside. Again, we're using adaptive cubic. We're doing 5% infill, and for a couple of hours, 2 hours and 24 minutes, costs 35 cents. Can't beat that. So let's get a little bit closer on this, and we'll start looking at how all this is going to work out. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. It could work out well. We'll see. The supports are, of course, it's all in red, so it's probably not the most, I don't know, a lot of those are close to, let's see, oh, I got to see this again. Let's change this. Go to the object. Let's change this to brown. We'll change that to brown and see, then we'll slice this again and see if we can get a little bit of a contrast in here. What I would really like to see is being able to have your supports in a different color, so that way you could really do an in-depth inspection on your models to see, because something like this, wait a second, I think we can. Yeah, well, you can do your supports in a different filament. But I just kind of want to see if things are going to run into the model. Let's see if we can get this out of the way. It's so hard to tell. Interesting. Let's go back to global. And if we go back here, the seam, gap, fitting, let's see, because we're all going to do this off of the side spool holder, so it's all going to be one thing anyway. And there is a setting on here for, there's the infill, advanced, sparse infill. It's not there. I think it's under support. Oh, here it is. Filament for supports, support raft base, support raft interface. Let's just go ahead and we'll throw that as blue. and then we'll slice this, and at least we can take a look, and we'll get a little bit of a contrast between the supports and the model itself, so we can get a little bit of a closer look and see. That's going to take 15 hours. Of course, we're not going to do that, but maybe what we can end up seeing here is whether these supports are going to be hitting the model. And again, it's really hard to tell, even with that. Well, it's not too bad. I mean, that could work. Let's just go ahead and we'll go back to default, and we'll, I don't know, we'll just slice it and see what happens. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll send this over to the printer, which is up and ready to go. Did a little bit of cleanup in the print room over there. So we should be good. So we're looking at 2 hours and 20 minutes, 17.25 grams and 35 cents. So we got a little bit of a brim on there. Make sure everything adheres to the plate. We should be good to go. And we're going to be off and running. So let's send this to the printer. Again, we're going to use the spool holder. Calibration, everything should still be good because we did the other prints. So, you know, we're good with that. Excuse me. And let's go ahead and we'll hit print. And we'll see how this goes at the 0.8. The interesting thing is we finished up our last print, which was the, which one was it? Oh, the axe, the, whatchamacallit axe, for a Warhammer one. And let's see if the printer's going to take, yep, we've got movement. We've got movement. Let me take a look at that. It was moving. But we got some real good results on the axe and the skull when we did the variable layer height at the 0.2 at the 0.08. So if you can see that there. And after seeing this, I was like, holy crow, look at that. So that's what got me interested. And I was like, you know what? Because we started basically just at the cheekbone and then higher, which is probably about right there and higher. We did the variable layer height and we brought that down to 0.08. So that came out beautiful. So yeah, I think that'll be good. I mean, this is definitely going to be good. But we'll see how this goes. And we can see that we're printing up a little bit. Let's do a little bit of a, isn't this cool? I love this program, Ecamm Live, because there's so much you can do with this. I'll just stick that there and then we can go like that. And there is our Ecamm, our Creality Ecamm. You know what? Let's put in a text overlay. Dynamic text overlay. And we'll put the Creality K2 Plus cam. I'll throw that in there. And boom. You know the other thing we'll do. Let's put this into perspective a little bit. We'll just kind of angle that a little bit. And then we'll angle this one a little bit. And then we could rotate the words. The words! Use the words. It's just so... I don't know. That's as good as the words are going to get. We can just kind of throw that on there. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting little test. This will be my very first miniature printed on the Creality K2 Plus. So looking forward to that. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if there's any settings that are really particular to printing out minis. Some people, I think there's a guy that was printing out miniatures he had some YouTube videos, and he was doing it on his bamboo machine. I think he was the A1 or the A1 Mini, whatever it was, and he was using the smaller nozzle. This one we're using the 0.4 nozzle at the 0.08 millimeter. That's the smallest that we can go on this, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. Star Killer, yes, we were talking about you. You're the reason why we're doing this video. So Star Killer, everybody, is the guy that was, he had printed out some miniatures and for his wargaming activities. And I was like, you know what? Wow, we're going to give this a shot and we'll see how this goes. So yeah, there it is. It's starting to print. We're doing, I don't want to go back, but we'll see what happens. And we're doing, the layer height is 0.08 with the 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So the stock nozzle, because I don't have a micro Swiss smaller nozzle, and we'll just see how this goes. So in supposedly 2 hours and 19 minutes and 21 seconds, we'll find out on whether we have a model that is usable. So Star Killer says that he's printing a mini dice tower now. I got to work on something for my daughter. It was a real big book, and it's a book thing. It's kind of like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and you turn the dial on the front, and it unlocks it, and it's like a big box for all your D&D stuff. I've had it printed out for quite some time, but I got sidetracked with a bunch of other stuff, and I need to paint it, and I need to prime it, then paint it, and that's going to require some, I'm going to use some enamel black and then some gold, and then I'm going to have to clear coat it, clear coat varnish, probably let's see, what was it? I don't know. Anyway, a real shiny clear coat gloss varnish, and get that to her. So Star Killer says, you're doing ultra fine detail. Yeah, as much as we can on the 0.4. And matter of fact, let's see if we can't, can I do this a little bit more? No? Oh, I've got 2? I don't want 2. No, that's making copies. I don't want to do a copy. I want to just... No, that's, I can lock the overlay. What am I... Oh, there we go. Okay. When you hit the wrong button, it's like, yeah, imagine that. You hit the wrong button and other stuff happens. Seriously. I don't know what's going on with this now. Maybe I just need to do it from here. There we go. Okay. So now, and this isn't the cleanest camera view. I apologize for that. But seriously, I keep hitting the wrong button. What is with me? Okay, there we go. We're getting better. Oh, that's what I was doing. I wasn't doing the correct. Oh no, what am I doing? Good Lord. Wilson, just let it go. Leave it. Excuse me. So yeah, is that a good first layer? Let me go check that real quick. Hold on. Yep, it is a good first layer. It was kind of hard to tell from the camera feed of the Creality print. I thought something was like boogered up or whatever, but it's actually good. So we've got goodness. We have got goodness. And we'll see how this goes. So yeah. Let's see. Biggs Android says, my P2S lives. Yes, congratulations. Gotta love it when the stuff works, right? It is always good when that works. So that's some good stuff. Congratulations. Yeah, I know you said you were having some problems, and yeah, let us know what the boggle was. Star Killer says, I use 0.12 for my minis and tree support slims. I did the same thing. Matter of fact, I used the tree support slims, but I didn't go with the 0 interface. I went with the 0.24, which is my go-to for getting supports off easily, but still getting the support. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's what I wanted to ask you, but I forgot to on the last feed to find out what is your top Z distance. You just go with default with the 0 that it recommends. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. And, you know, worst comes to worst, it's only a couple of hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes and 35 cents worth of filament. So Briggs Android says, bless you. Okay, thank you. But yeah, Biggs, tell us what the deal is. You mentioned that you had some problems with your P2S, which I've seen is a great machine, so I'm glad you got that up and running. Did you figure out what was wrong with it? Star Killer says he went with the default with the minis, and he went with the 0.12. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna go for the 0.08 since we got such real good details on that axe skull that we printed out, that we finished up that last print, as if I really need to print more stuff because I'm far behind anyway. And I won't even show you my shelves of shame. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh, I got like 4.5 shelves of shame. And so I've got this, let me see. Come here. So you can see that there. Those are the shelves of shame. So that one there, the next one, and then down, and then that one, and then that one, all have minis that have not been painted. And those are resin printed ones. And they're various heights, and they're all looking over at me with disdain because I haven't printed or I haven't painted them. There's stuff there that has been there, oh my gosh, over a couple of years. Seriously. But I don't know, someday we'll get into it. Star Killer says, not as ultra fine, but the 0.12 that he was referencing is pretty good for the tabletop. Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't take as long as doing the 0.08. I got many plastic minis not painted. Everybody does. If you're into resin printing, FDM printing, you have a pile of shame. So the people that are watching that don't know what a pile of shame is, the pile of shame are the things that you print out, whether it's FDM or resin printing, or hell, they could even be store-bought miniatures that are not painted, that you're like, oh, this is cool, and then you print it out or buy it or whatever, and it sits on a shelf, and then you run across some other stuff, so you go print other stuff, or you print bigger stuff, or you buy more stuff, and the other stuff that you bought doesn't get painted, and that's your pile of shame. So yeah, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Star Killer says, a good dice tray or tower is a good thing for your daughter. She loves playing D&D. Yeah, I made her a dice tower. I didn't make it one. I printed her one, and I guess it stood up about like that tall, and kind of that gothic D&D type of brooding thing. I printed that out for her. She loves it. So We got that. But the Egyptian Book of the Dead is the thing that I need to get off my ass and paint and finish. It's all printed, but I've just been dreading painting it. And we need to fix that. So it's definitely not going to be, it's all printed, but it's not going to get painted by Christmas. That's for sure. It's the 23rd. There's no way on God's green earth, unless you put a gun to my head. Maybe I'd get it done. Hey, we got Chillin' Connect here. Says hello. Hey, hand pink waving. Yeah, love it. Just kind of, we're checking out if we can do a miniature at a 0.08 layer height. So we're going to see what happens with that. We've got 2 hours and 9 minutes. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Hey, we got Rara here. What's going on? Just finished a 6.5 hour drive, saw this and thought about the 0.25 nozzle for Micro Swiss might be a good miniature nozzle. Really? I did not know that. No, I don't want to do that. It's doing the, I see. It's doing my desktop. That's why it's doing that. I didn't know Micro Swiss did. That would have been pretty wild. It's like if you had some weird yuck stuff on your screen, and then it's like you pop it up and it's there, and people are like, oh my gosh, he's into, I don't know, whatever, furries or whatever. No. You know somebody's done that. But Micro Swiss, Micro Swiss K2 Plus nozzles. Nozzles? Okay. Yeah, you got to spell it correctly. What are the odds? Micro Swiss. But the Micro Swiss, I did pick up another hot end, so I have one of those. And I guess we could take a look at that. So I ended up getting another one of those, which actually was on sale a little while ago. So it was like, hey, it was like, shoot, I'll go for that. But that hot end for the K2 Plus is nice. So if anybody's wondering about that, it works great. It heats up quicker than the stock one. I haven't had a clog since I've got that on there. And I've had, multiple clogs on the K2 Plus with the stock nozzles. And yeah, this is pretty good. So the CM2 CHT. So CH2 CMT nozzle. And we've got a 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and a 1. So I don't see a 0. Super small. Raura pops up and says, I picked one up a couple of weeks ago, can go down to 0.6, I think. Super skinny line with width, though, takes forever to print, I would imagine. The 0.2 nozzle for the K2 is good, but wish they changed as fast as the bamboo ones. Yeah, I mean, not that it takes long anyway, but yeah, I totally agree. I think all companies should have that quick release connect for their nozzles. So, Chillin' Connect says, I'm always scared to share my screen at an online meeting. I'm just not doing anything bad. It's just scary. Just paranoid. I know. And apparently, I've seen some stories where we're like, not that it was, well, I mean, it was bad. There's a number of people that were gamers and things like that, where they ended up, they're doing their online Twitch streaming, gaming, whatever, and they found out they were using cheat software. So they got in a bunch of trouble and whatever. But yeah, that could be bad. That could be bad. I wonder, K2 Plus. Let's just look at all the stuff that they got. They got the brass nozzles. So we'll take a look at those. We'll take at the CM2 nozzles, the Flowtech CHT nozzles, the Diamondback nozzle, which is $124. Oof, ouch. And then the Flowtech CHT High Flow CM2 nozzles. So we'll see what those look like. And we've got, dun dun dun, here we go. Okay, so the brass plated nozzle has a 0.2, 0.25, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 1. Wow. That's interesting. That's only 16 bucks, so that's not bad. And then we got the Flowtech CM2, which is 4, 6, and 8. Okay, so that's not bad. That's 23 bucks. CHT nozzle, 4, 6, 8, and 1. So we got that. And again, the same thing there. So I like that, how that thing works, and how it has that multi-chamber thing. And yeah, it's a good nozzle. I like that. But it's interesting. They have the brass nozzle. Huh. I'd probably get the 0.25. Because like you said, that 0.2 millimeter nozzle, that would just be super small. So I'd probably go with the 2.5, or I think that would be good. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Interesting. Dun, dun, dun. Robert says, I think the 2.5 only comes in the diamond, so there's a price hit for sure. I love my micro Swiss. I do love micro Swiss. Again, like I said, I had clogs with the K2 Plus in the stock, and it's just like, seriously, I replaced 3 of them, and then I saw some people recommend micro Swiss, and I'm like, okay, we'll give it a shot. It's been like 400, 500, 600 hours, something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was about 400 plus hours, and that was a little while ago. And it's still going. Haven't had any clogs. Keep fingers crossed. Chillin' Connect says, I finally canceled a monthly subscription. I'm free from them taking my money from me. Adobe. Yeah. Oh, I hate subscriptions. I mean, I got Spotify. Let's see, what else do we got? Of course, Amazon is like a yearly subscription thing, really. Which I just did the numbers on the Amazon. Because every year I'll go through and I'll say, okay, well, how much did I get, and the points that you get, so you can get discounts on other products and stuff. If, that's more than what I paid for the service for Amazon Prime, then I keep it. If it goes down below that, then I quit. So, but it's still doing good. But yeah, I don't like the monthly thing. Didn't know the brass one came in that small size too. Thought it was just the diamond. Yeah. Does the diamond have that smaller one? Let's take a look at that. The Diamondback, yeah, that's a hefty. The Diamondback nozzle, $124.99. Oof. Oh, see, it does. Yeah, that does a 0.25. Wow. That better like make me coffee in the morning and give me a reach around, because 125 bucks. Proprietary polycrystalline diamond insert developed after 40 years of diamond technology research. Unmatched durability and reduces clogging, enhancing layer adhesion and print precision. That is a chunk of change there. 125 smackers for that one. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit too rich for my blood. I could try the brass one. I could go for that. That would be all right. Let's see. Chillin' Connect says they keep raising their pricing without warning. Talking about Adobe and other things. The software that we're using right now, the program that I'm using to do the streaming on my Mac, is called Ecamm Live. And I ran across it a long time ago when you could buy the program. And I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was a long time ago. It was a lifetime license, and I was like, I'd rather have the program. And they had different levels, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, but I got the lifetime license. And now that same Ecamm Live, you can only get it by subscription, I think. So, and I'm so glad I did that. Ecamm Live, let's take a look and see what that does. So there it is, and it's for Mac. It's kind of like OBS or what. I know OBS is free and you could use that on Mac, but let's look at the pricing on that. So trial, and you can either do annual, save 20%, so it's $16 a month, or billed as one payment, $192 is standard, my version of the lifetime license is standard, or $32. Yeah, and there's no. You can't buy the program anymore. 4K streaming, virtual mic, virtual cam, cam for Zoom, cam for live interview. So I'm not missing out on much. And even if I want to do interviews or something like that, I could just do a FaceTime call and put that on the screen as, sharing my desktop. So I'm not missing out on that. But yeah, could you imagine that? $192 a year, and I've been using this thing for years. So it's basically $200 a month, or $200 a year, say by 5 years or whatever it is. That money adds up. That money adds up. I'm with you. I don't like the subscriptions. Let's see, what else do we got? Starkiller says this mini dice tower needs to be renamed to Baby Dice Tower. It looks like a barfly fit in a 12mm die. Chill and Connect says he has Spotify, but I'm fine with it. Music is basically my life. Yeah, I gotta, when I go to the gym, I go to the gym like 3 or 4 days a week, and I'll be in the gym for a couple of hours, 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours if I do the sauna. I always do cardio, do weights and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm always plugged into music, and that I'm jamming out. I'm around people, but I don't like being around people, if you know what I mean. And the gym is the way that I fight my demons off with some mental health issues, and that's been a godsend. So yeah, I jam on my music, and I love my Spotify. So the cool thing is, being here in Korea, streaming services like Netflix is cheaper here in Korea than it is in the United States. So we've got Korean Netflix, but we can also get, American movies and shows and stuff like that. It's just has that Korean, either subtitled or closed captions, and you can go from Korean to English and stuff like that. Chill and Connect says, I'm planning on buying a lifetime license for another software. It's a large upfront cost, but you get it forever and get grandfathered in. Exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad I did that with the Ecamm Live, because I was like, that's a lot of money. And then in hindsight, it's like, no, it saved me a bunch of money in the long run. Kind of like with Bitcoin. I wish I listened to that voice and it was like, I should have got the Bitcoin. Chill says, I'm secretly piggybacking off someone else's Netflix. Shh. Secretly. Allegedly. Supposedly. I know you're just joking. Nobody would do that. Nobody would do that. No one ever in the history of Netflix would share their password. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. That's kind of an interesting thing there. I think I might order, depending on how this miniature pops out at the 0.08, the brass nozzle. Maybe I'll go for the brass nozzle and go for that 0.25 and see what type of miniatures. As if I need to print more. I don't know. Let's see. Star Killer says just did $10 a month sub for OPR and got all my free minis. Oh, okay. Holy crap, it's a lot. Biggs Android says, screw it, I've got my own server. We had a ton of DVDs. We still have a number of DVDs, but we don't even have a DVD player. So the wife and I were just talking about that. She goes, are we ever going to get a DVD player? I used to have a PS5, and I was like, I really didn't play a lot on it. Just kind of used it as watching DVDs every once in a while. But then started buying more stuff off of Amazon Prime. So I've got those. But then our daughter came over here, and she's like, hey, and it's like, I'm planning on getting a PS5. And I said, well, hell, use ours. We don't really use it that much. So I don't know. I don't think I'll get another PS5, but I might try to look into getting a DVD player. Just because my wife's got a bunch of DVDs that she likes, and we're not going to pay again on Amazon Prime to buy those. So, Starkiller says 97 minis this month and free minis every month with OPR, which is one-page rules. That's a lot. You better get to painting. Get to printing and get to painting. Matter of fact, today I was just watching some people doing one-page rules, Grimdark. I can't remember whatever it is. It was the simplest version of the game where you have the smallest amount of characters or whatever it is. And I just started watching that today to try to figure out how to play. I don't know. It's been so long since I played any type of games that my old man brain is like, what? Well, how do you know you got a +2 or a -3 or whatever it is? And you got to roll a 4 or better, but then he's on this and he's obscured by some terrain, so that's a -1 or a +1 for defense. All of that stuff. I was just like, oh my gosh, seriously. I don't know. There's a lot going on in some of those games. So skirmish, yeah, the skirmish. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I still put some feelers out here in Korea since we're close to a military base, and eventually do some of that stuff. Now I do have, let me see if I can get this guy off of here. This is a little one-page rule mini that we have there that I ended up painting. And that was with the Speed Paint 2.0. And that came out really, really good. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is a resin print, obviously. I wish this thing would focus better. If I get it closer, and pull back. No, it doesn't. But anyway, I printed out, they have free miniatures that you can do. So I printed out a number of those. And that's one of them that I painted. So, Starkiller says OPR Grimdark Skirmish is small units. Okay, yeah. Skirmish is called Firefight. Okay, good. OPR Grimdark is the one like Warhammer 40K but simpler. Okay, yeah, I need simple. I need simple. So we'll see. Definitely need simple. But I've got a number of those that I printed out. Of course, I also got some Warhammer type ones that I printed. Let me see if I can find. Let's see. Of course, I got my giants that I did. Well, I don't know. I got some of the little dudes. I don't know if these are exactly them, but I printed out guys like that. These are all resin printed. I think that's a one-page rule guy there. Pretty cool, but they're just small. I mean, they're crazy small. And I got a number of those that I printed out. But I got some bigger stuff as well. Let me see what else. Of course, we got some L's. I don't think this is one-page rules. I don't know. Maybe it is. I can't remember if this is. I just see some cool stuff, find some free stuff, download it, print it, boom, and there it is. So, and then I got a number of other things that, this one was wicked. Look at all the details on this guy. Holy crow. And of course this is resin printed, but the details on this dude were insane. And I haven't even attempted to paint this. I'd like to print this big and do a lot bigger. And I do have them a little bit bigger, but it just didn't come out as well. And so I did a little bit of kit bashing on him because the arm was messed up. And so what I ended up doing is just taking this and make that the arm, and then I had a little piece. So that would, now it makes me want to paint this. So yeah, that'll look kick-ass. But there's so many details on that. It is insane. So I'm kind of, I don't know if I'll do that. And I got a bunch of other little guys. I've got some little chunky monkeys. Can't remember what these guys were or who they came from, but I got a number of those. And a bunch of others. Let's see. This is another small one. But the resin printing is just insane. The details that you can get on a resin printer, which is awesome. I don't know, I got so much stuff. Oh, I got another big one. I got some big stuff like this that had been sitting around and just gathering dust. Warhammer stuff. At least I got this black, and then I need to do the zenithal, but I'm so behind on painting stuff like this. Crazy. And then I got some bigger stuff. Oh, I've got another one here. This is going to be cool. Look at that. This one is going to be wild. I got some good plans for this, because the wings and everything, the dragon wings, that is just going to be insane. Like I said, I've got so much stuff I can paint. Man, so much stuff. I got a couple of dragons that I need to do. It's just so much. Piles of shame everywhere. So. Star Killer says, I use Discord to share some of my STLs with my friends so we can print. Only the free ones, though. Yeah, I get that. Hack37, we're due for a painting stream or video. Yeah, matter of fact, I was just thinking about that. And I've got 3 that are up for painting. And let me show you those. Well, I've got so many that are up for painting. We got this one. So this is FDM printed. So this is, in the zenithal on there, you can see the layer lines on there. I can't remember what the layer height was, but I mean, this is going to be pretty good. But I think I'm going to do this with the Army Painter Speed Paint 2.0. And then the same thing with this one. This is going to be a good one. Look at that. So these are all resin. This one's resin printed. But yeah, this one's going to be insane as well. I just need to dedicate some time to that. And yeah, that is just going to be insane. I had to do a little bit of, had a broken piece on there, so I had to kind of manufacture a little bit of that hammer, but you'd never notice that. So there's these, and then I've got an elf that I blew up. This guy here, I think that one's going to turn out pretty good too. But I did a smaller version of this guy as well. So I just like the flowing robes, the sword and everything, and how he's kind of standing on a crystal and whatever. I think that is going to, check him out, that is going to be good. The chains, all the details on that those are so awesome. But I did, where is that at? I've got him, oh, here he is. I did a smaller version of him right here. So I went with the gold and kind of the, the base and everything. That turned out really good. And colors, shapes and colors. So yeah, this one turned out really good. So that other one is going to be kind of like this. But yeah, I mean, the base turned out really good. Got some old tufts of grass and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see what happens. We will see. Let's catch up on the comments. Dun, 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 dun. Second one is going hard. Yeah, that second one is going to be the Warhammer one, the smaller resin printed one, the big one. But then I also got, as if I didn't have enough, of course we've got the Hulk back here, and then we've got this guy here. So you can see him. This guy's FDM printed at 0.16. And he's going to turn out pretty good as well. He's been waiting for a long time. At least I got him painted white. So this will be, this guy will also be with the Speed Paint 2.0. So I think that's going to, and I think I want to do kind of like a red type color with gold, since it's got some cool stuff there. It could be a lot of, kind of like a Knights Templar type of look to this guy. I think that'll turn out really well. And of course I got the big Hulk in the background here as well. So yeah, I'm not at a loss for things to paint. So yeah, I need to get on it. Let's see, Starkiller says you can definitely can field some big space marines. Yeah. Excuse me. Let's see, Hack ends up saying, how long would you estimate a painting job on that one? On the big one that we just looked at? With the Speed Paint 2.0, probably just with the painting. And I have my squirrel moments, so it would end up something kind of like 4-6 hours, maybe 8 hours. I know I've got some videos where I ended up doing Speed Paint 2.0 on the orc dude. And I think this one ended up, this one here, you see him, and the majority of this is Speed Paint 2.0. And I think this was like 6 hours, 4 or 6 hours, somewhere in there. But he turned out really, really good. But I'd paint for a little bit, and then I'd get a squirrel moment and have to do other stuff or want to do other stuff or have a bad brain day, and then I'd come back, and yeah, it turned out really, really good. About 99% is Speed Paint 2.0, which is great. So I would say with the big one, I'd probably say about somewhere between 4 and 6 hours. Probably about 5 hours, I would imagine. It'd probably be something like that. Depends on how much. Because like I said, I have my moments where I get into other stuff, and I'm kind of a linear type person. But then I also I'm easily distracted to do other things. I don't know if some of you also have that problem as well. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then it's like, oh, look at this cool shiny thing over here. And then you go do that. And then I got some minis that I've been painting for, oh, good Lord. The small giants that I've been painting for over a year now and still not done. Oh, I got to hang my head in shame on these. One of these days. One of these days. But these are 3 giants. They're just printed as, the smaller version. And again, these are, around the 32, 37 millimeter. And I've been painting these I've been interrupted a lot. I've allowed myself to be interrupted. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully in 6 months I'll finish these up, because basically I just got to do the bases on these, but I don't know. Just so much stuff. George says, I have ADD and I go squirrel a lot. Yes, indeedy. I do the squirrel thing. So, and then I'll have bad brain days where, I deal with some mental health issues and stuff like that, where life just isn't good and I don't want to be around anybody or do anything. So, yeah, I think we all have that to some degree. Hack says, wow, the Giants look awesome. They look even better if I finish them. One of these days I will, but thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. And I didn't know how to paint before I came to Korea. So retired here. We've been over here just over 3 years now. And besides going to the gym, I was like, hey, I gotta have something to do. And so that's when I ran across, we were actually in a Korean store, a hobby store, and had Warhammer figures. And I'm like, well, I remember that from way back in the day. I never played back then, but I think it was like the 80s. It's in the 80s or something like that. And so I saw them, and there was like 4 or 5 guys or whatever. So I bought the pack, which was expensive, and a little sprue model thing, and just watching an inordinate amount of videos on YouTube, and eventually started painting. And then my wife was complaining that these tiny little 32 millimeter figures were so expensive, and that got me into resin printing. Resin printing got me into FDM printing, and now that's where we are. Pile of shame of FDM stuff and resin printed stuff. It's all waiting to be painted. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're going to continue on. We'll see how it goes. So I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing how this model's turning out. Check that out. We shall see. We are currently, we've printed 43 minutes and 31 seconds. The remaining time is 1 hour and 36 minutes. So yeah, we should finish up at about 4:45 in the afternoon here. It's about 3:10 right now. So, oh, you know what I could do? Well, I was saying I could bump this up to 125% speed and go ultra fast. Because it's at the standard 100%. I think I'll just leave it the way it is. I'll just let it, won't run fast because I don't want to screw. But no, I did it's got more details on this. And it's only 1 hour and 35 minutes. So I guess I could leave that, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. George says, thankfully my grandfather teaching me how to shoot was how I learned to meditate and calm my mind. Yeah, shooting was a good thing for me. Where I can focus, I basically learned how to focus through the military, doing, rifle marksmanship, and it was a real structured environment. So I really needed that. And I joined the Army when I was 17, and it was really, really good. So that's where I got my thing in, of trying to stay on track. Of course, now that I'm retired and I don't have to stay on track if I don't want to, but yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. My daughter has ADHD, and she's a doctor. Went through medical school, and she wasn't diagnosed until pretty much she was almost done with her residency. Yeah, she was going through residency, and she got diagnosed with ADHD, and it was like she started on some medication. I can't remember what it was or what it is, but it's like, she's like, I wish I had this when I was going through medical school, because if you got ADHD, your brain is like, oh, well, the metatarsal and this bone and that bone, and it's like, this over here I need to do, and this over here, and this over here. So for her to study and go through medical school was just insanely hard. And like I said, she didn't get diagnosed until later, and she's like, if only I had this before, life would have been so much easier. So I don't know. We'll see what this. Hack says, I really like the Creality K2 Plus cam. Yeah, turned out pretty good. I was going to try to get a dedicated camera feed that was clear, better, whatever. But this is just piggybacking off of the Creality Print Live feed. So I like it too. And maybe I'll get another camera. We'll see. But I would have to run a long UBS USB cable, and I'm not sure my Mac Mini would be able to handle that. I've got 3 cameras right now. So I've got this camera, I've got the desktop or the paint station camera that we see there, and then I got that camera that would, as I'm painting, you'd be able to see me on that one. So yeah, I've got 3. And my phone can sometimes be a camera, so I was going to try to use that as the K2 Plus cam, but it wouldn't hook up now. So it's temperamental. I don't know. Maybe I got to whisper sweet nothings to it. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Hack says, you got into Warhammer 3D printing rather than something more messy like woodworking. I used to rehab houses. After I got out of the military and we started doing investment real estate and rehabbing houses, I did basically construction. We would do drywall, we'd do tile, we'd do windows, taking out windows, putting new windows in. We'd take down walls, put in walls, paint, the whole 9 yards, put in cabinetry, kitchen cabinets, the whole 9 yards. We would do bathrooms, redo bathrooms and whole. I think we did over 60 some odd properties. When I was doing that. And so I got sick of doing that stuff. So, and then moving around, and of course coming to Korea, we sold everything and came here with a couple of suitcases. So, but they do, talking about woodworking, they have an arts and crafts center on Camp Humphreys, which is the military base, largest U.S. overseas military base in the world. And they have an arts and crafts center that has a fully decked out woodworking shop. I mean, we're talking planers, we're talking table saws, we're talking clamps, everything. People make full-blown furniture in that place. So if I wanted to do that, that's an option. And there are some people that do that. Starkiller says he sent me some emails. Okay, we'll have to check that out. George says, woodworking is very rewarding. Hack says, which areas did you do all these fixer-uppers? I did some in Oklahoma, in Lawton, Oklahoma. We did 2 there that basically we bought the worst house on the block. lived in it, used my VA certificate to help secure the loan. And then like a year later, it ends up, or 2 years later or something, whatever it was, I bought another house in another neighborhood there, did the same thing. We moved, rented out the first one, lived in and fixed that up at the same time. And then that's where it ends up, where my family, unfortunately, came and visited us and said, hey, well, it looks like this real estate thing you're doing pretty good. And it's like, yeah, positive cash flow. We're paying down the mortgage, paying extra on the principal. We're doing all the repairs ourselves and everything. And it was turned out really good. Learned how to do tile work and the whole 9 yards. And so the family got involved in that. So when we started real estate investing, buying bank-owned properties in Pueblo, Colorado. And there we ended up, we had like 30, I had 17 properties. We had another 15 another family member had, and then there was, I can't remember the other one. So, we're looking at about 30 plus properties, almost 40 properties. And then we ended up rehabbing every single one of those. So we get a bank-owned property, and we would figure out, okay, how much is it going to cost? And we get an interim loan, and we would pay ourselves to fix the property and pay for the materials. And then we refinance the property and we rent it out so it has positive cash flow. And boom, we do that and we rent it out. So we did a number of those properties. About 40, almost 40 properties. And I would have been a multimillionaire, except my family, my family defrauded the company. It was like, it was bad. There was insurance fraud. There was all kinds. They cooked the books, even though, and I considered myself pretty smart. We had a business plan, we had a contract, and the whole 9 yards. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. This is how it breaks down. Even had a lawyer and all that stuff. Well, it ends up that my parents defrauded the company. They stole insurance money for like roofs that were supposed to get repaired, insurance money for roofs. All of that went crazy. Good Lord. And it all crashed and burned. It wasn't until, and we'd have monthly meetings. It was horrible. And then, they could have been set for life, because the whole idea of our investment was the property's making money. My parents were managing the properties, and so they're getting paid the normal 10% for a management fee. So that's how they get paid, and that's how they live. That was included in our estimates. So they had a good paycheck. The problem is they spent all the tenants' deposit money. And they also spent the insurance money for new roofs. And it wasn't until it ends up that I was going through the books in our monthly meetings, and it's like, wait a second, something's not right. And long story short, it ends up we caught them that they were cooking the books and everything, and they were spending the money. They're always going on vacations. And then they always needed money and stuff like that. And it was just a horrible, horrible thing. And then there was the bankruptcy. There was the foreclosures. Oh my gosh, seriously. It took forever and a day. So we basically had to redo everything. We crawled back from nothing. And it was horrible. So they're dead to me. There it is. Hack says, damn, Steve, feels like you had multiple lives, never knew about the whole real estate era. Seems honestly pretty cool. When it was working, and we were paying, the thing was, we figured it out, and we said, we're going to pay extra on the principal of the house that has the least amount on the mortgage. And of course, mortgages were dirt cheap back then. So, before the real estate crash, and, we're going to do the buy and hold thing and putting extra on the principal. So after we figured out, according to plan, after 10 years, the first house would be paid off. And every house was getting money getting applied to the principal of that property. So at the 10 or 11 year mark, every year we would have multiple houses within a year being paid off. And all we had to do is just grind it. Just grind it out, just rent it out, just fix the properties, oh, the toilet overflow. We call somebody and they come fix it. But they defrauded the company and it crashed and burned and horrible, horrible. My stepdad ended up dying of heart disease, and I guess God didn't like him that much for doing that. And then my mom was she was in total denial. We didn't do anything wrong. And it's like, I have documents showing you did wrong. It was a whole, and they didn't pay taxes. They were tax avoiding the IRS as well. So, I mean, it was just horrible, horrible, horrible. Horrible people. The cool stuff was cool. The bad stuff was horrible. George says, I wanted to learn blacksmithing like my great-grandfather, but I overheat too quick. Love old wrought iron fences. That would have been cool. Like that TV show where they made the knives and do the forge fire or whatever that is, fire forged or whatever. Hack says, damn, what a twist. Defrauding company, family, the whole 9 yards, lying, cheating, stealing, the whole 9 yards. It was just horrible. It really was. This is so unfortunate. I had no idea about that story. Now I can understand you don't want to touch any of that woodworking. It's kind of that. But I don't think that was really it. I think it was just, we had rehabbed so many properties, and it's kind of like, if you do that for a living long enough, you don't want to do it as a hobby. And I think that's what it was. Aside from the family driving the business into the ground and, for short-term, easy gratification, our family could have been set up. Our kids could have been set up. But they took their eye off the prize. And so it ended up, after all that happened, I was working, that's when I was working for the state of Colorado. I ended up, doing double shifts, working overtime as much as I could. The wife ended up working, and, we're just trying to get out of debt. We went through bankruptcy, went through foreclosures, the whole 9 yards. It was just horrible. And it was a legal nightmare. I tell you, it was a legal nightmare. And that's when, with my mental health issues and the military and PTSD and depression, anxiety, and that all stuff, you're thinking about, eating a bullet or two or whatever, because your life is worth more from life insurance and it's just like, oh, throw all that in. It was the perfect storm, and it was just horrible. I wasn't taking care of myself. So, but luckily things turned around, and I was able to get some help. I had emergency surgery, I almost died. My gallbladder was necrotizing, and I put that off as long as possible. I was self-medicating with all kinds of stuff. I was a mess back in those days. And and then, it was horrible. It was really horrible. But I was able to get the help I needed. And then, when early retirement became an option, I think that really saved us. That really saved me. And then, so it was a perfect storm to get to a place where I realized that I needed to get help. And so when it was like, hey, we can retire overseas and we can retire early, I jumped on it. We jumped on it. And it's been great ever since. So I don't think anything happens for a reason. I think it's just you got stupid people that do stupid things, and you just got to wade through it the best you can. What an effing twist. Yeah, it was quite that. This is so unfortunate. I had no idea about the story. Now I can understand. Yeah, it was quite the story. Quite horrible. Hack says, glad you got help. Yeah, me too. Yeah, and a wife as well. But, and if it was just the one thing, if it was just my family, my side of the family defrauding and going through that whole business debacle thing, it wouldn't have been that bad. It would have been bad, because moreover, your family stabbing you in the back and stealing money and the whole 9 yards. And I still had, on the company books, I'm still owed 80,000 some odd dollars of work that I have done that I didn't get paid for. Because there's always this little thing, it's like, I got two younger brothers, and, there's always something that came up. Well, we're going to have to short your pay a little bit. We'll just keep it on the books and you can make it, right? You can make it. And it's like, well, yeah, my wife's got to work a full-time job and I got to do this. And so, yeah, we're trying to make ends meet. So we had a bunch of time on the books that I never got paid for. Imagine that, because they went on vacations and this and that. And it's funny how they paid off their house and they filled their bank. And then, it was horrible. It was horrible. So, but now it's good. Now retired, I'm comfortable. I get to do some cool stuff. I get to hang out with cool people like you all. And I can just sit back and, basically the rest of my family, that's why I'm overseas. And people are like, oh, but don't you have family? Your parents and this and that. And it's like, no, they're dead to me. When we caught them, basically we did like a financial audit and we had them dead to rights. I got information from the bank and the whole 9 yards because we all had access. And then we were able to get bank records and so on and so forth. I found the second set of books. There's a set of books that my parents would show me and my brothers and saying, hey, well, this is what we're doing. And it's like, okay. But then I found the real books access, because I had to go in and ended up, I had computer access and I found a file that was I found the files for the books, but it was the wrong books. It was the hidden books. And then that's when all this blew up. And and then the lawsuit from the roofer that was replacing roofs on about 10 plus properties because of a huge hailstorm in Pueblo, and he wasn't getting paid. And I actually found the letter that named us in a lawsuit. And that's to not get sued. That's where I'm assuming that the deposit money for all these properties went to pay the roofer because they spent the money of the insurance checks for the roofs that was supposed to go to the roofer. You can't make this up. It's just, if you told me, it'd be like, there's no way somebody could screw the pooch that bad. Oh, my parents did. My mom and my stepdad. Joy. Such joy. And here's the thing. They never said sorry. We confronted them. I showed my two younger brothers, my two stepbrothers, what was going on. And it was like, and when we confronted them, they never said sorry. And it's like they were caught. They knew dead to rights that they were, and it's like they're holding the bag, and it's like, I'm holding the bag. There's nothing I can say. And you know how people say sorry when they get caught? Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, you're sorry because you got caught. My parents didn't even do that. So that tells you what horrible people they were. And I thought I'd covered my bases. We had contracts, we had lawyers, we had agreements, the whole 9 yards, and they still screwed us. But then when you spend all the money and then it ends up that the stepdad dies and then the only one left is your mom, and it's like, what do you do? Do you turn your mom in for tax evasion and all of this stuff? How far do you... But the thing is she acted like nothing happened. And it's like, when you are so brain dead that you can't acknowledge the wrongs that you did, and it was like, it was recommended by my lawyer to contact the IRS and turn them in. It was like, seriously. But yeah, they never said sorry or anything like that. So yeah, it was quite the shit show. It was a multiple season high ranking shit show. It was Not an iota of culpability or accountability, nothing. Zip, zero. And yeah, it was just horrible. There's more stories about my family that would make your head spin. I'm surprised I'm still here, but we are, and thank God I am. So yeah, it was. So that's why I have nothing to go back to the States to. So even if people die, I ain't going back to the States because I don't know who those people are. You know, when you have such a disdain for truth and integrity and honesty, and you lie so much that you believe the lies and you think everybody else is crazy, that's what my family did, is they thought we're untouchable. And then my stepdad became a sovereign citizen. Oh my God. He oh, I don't want to be a U.S. citizen anymore because I'm getting taxed too much. So there's a whole new, I know I'm ranting on this stuff. We're just waiting for this print to print. But I'll regale you in the stories that are just incredibly, wow. So my stepdad, who has been my stepdad since I was like 12 or 13 years old, he became a sovereign citizen. For those of you who don't know, it's this bogus thing where you try to get out of paying taxes. There's a lot of inmates that claim to be sovereign citizens because the corporate name that you've been given, all capital name letters in your name, is a capital corporation type of thing. And if you can get out from under that, you don't have to pay taxes, or you're not responsible for the crimes you commit. So yeah, the perfect storm. That came up with that. So that was quite the interesting little thing that we had there. He was trying to get me to do that. And I'm like, all of these, volumes of stuff. And it's like, I'm reading through it. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, blah, 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 all this stuff, maritime law. And it's like, I could see how somebody that isn't educated could get caught up in that bullshit. But my stepdad had 2 degrees. He had a degree in forestry. He was an Army officer. He was in aviation and flew Huey helicopters in the Vietnam War. He had over like 5,000 hours of flight time. He was the most intelligent guy that I knew. And he started a business. He did real estate. He did insurance. He had 2 insurance offices. He was killing it. And then later in life, it's like, I want to raise llamas, and then I want to be a sovereign citizen, and I don't want to pay taxes, because you're paying too much taxes. And it's like, but you get rid of your social security number, and if you can't pay taxes, that means you can't have interest-bearing accounts. You have to give up everything, the whole 9 yards, and a lot of people won't hire you if you don't have a social security number. So he ended up being a handyman, and of course managing the properties. That was his paycheck along with his military disability. That was a lot of sketchiness about that as well. So yeah, sovereign citizen, didn't want to pay taxes, was, I guess, owed a bunch of taxes. And so the draw of being a sovereign citizen is that if you renounce your corporate citizenship to, Washington, D.C., the corporate entity and all that stuff, that now you no longer have to pay taxes. And so whatever you work and what you get is all yours. You don't have to pay taxes. And it's like, but you're poor. You can't even have a real bank account. Who cares if I got to pay 30% in taxes? I'm doing infinitely better. And here's a guy who ran 2 businesses. He also ran a sawmill. He was killing that in Arizona. Then he got into real estate. Then he got into insurance. And then he went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. He had 2 independent insurance offices making money hand over fist. And then things just kind of went downhill from there. And it was horrible. And he was a smart man. Forestry, a degree in forestry. He was a forest ranger. He's the guy that could fly in a plane or on horseback, take a picture of a tree, and he could do the math in his head to tell you how tall that tree was based off of the shadow in this, whether it was on horseback or in a plane or overhead pictures or whatever. He could tell you the diameter of the tree in the whole 9 yards. I mean, all in his head. He was super intelligent, but he fell for this sovereign citizen bullshit. It was crazy. It was crazy. Hack says, yeah, it doesn't add up. Might as well just leave the U.S. at that point. Yeah. I mean, and you know, the wife and I, my wife was a Korean citizen. She became a U.S. citizen. Our life was mainly, you know, being in the military. And so we traveled around overseas and back to the U.S. and back overseas again. So we never really put roots down until I retired and went to Colorado to where my family was to do the real estate investing debacle, the debacle that came out to be. And yeah, again, if they just stuck to the plan, that's all they had to do. And in 10 years, we would get the first house. Matter of fact, it was the first year we're going to have 4 houses paid off, free and clear. And then the next year is like 3 or 4 other houses, because we bought multiple houses each year. And yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Just didn't work out. Yeah. What was your favorite overseas deployment besides Korea? Panama was good. Panama was good. Even though it was probably the worst place as far as heat and humidity that I've ever experienced in my life. Worse than the Korean summers and humidity here. Panama, but I love Panama. It was great. We went to Cologne, we went to Panama City. Of course, we were in the jungles and stuff like that. That was a really good. Of course, I was single no, I was married. I was married at that time. And I ended up trying to get stationed down in Panama. We did such a good job down there that I tried to get a job at the Jungle Warfare School. But that ended up going away. For those of you who don't know, they used to have a Jungle Warfare Center in Panama, and military's down there, but then they got rid of it. So I guess no one's ever going to fight in the jungles again, and it was horrible. But I like Panama. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be the favorite. Korea was really good too. Yeah, it was. That was, I would say, the Korea and the Panama would be the top 2. So we'll see. I didn't know there was something worse than Korea's summer. Haha, this is someone who experienced Dubai summers. Yeah, Panama was horrible. That is the worst humidity. You could take a shower, dry off, take 2 steps, and you're drenched again. The jungles down there are just horrible. Don't mess with the monkeys. Good Lord. You know, there's drug interdiction and stuff that was going on down there as well. And that was crazy, crazy stuff. I don't know. It was crazy. It was crazy. So yeah, that was kind of fun. But retired in 2005, got out, said, hey, they wanted to send me to recruiting after being a senior instructor at the Field Artillery School at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And I was supposed to be there for 5 or 6 years or whatever. And then they said, nope, we're going to send you to recruiting. And I'm like, shit, no, because back then you got on recruiting duty. Here's your orders for recruiting. Here's your divorce paperwork that you need to fill out because of the recruiting. And I just didn't want to do that. So I was able to retire, and it was, I don't know how that happened, but my stepdad, like I said, he was 100% disabled. And at that time, my 2 stepbrothers, which are 14 and 12 years younger than me, wouldn't show up to work. And so my dad's business, he's like, yeah, I can't hand this over to them because they don't show up to work. So that's how I retired and went back to Colorado, and that's because they were doing real estate investing because they saw that I was doing it while I was in the service, and that ended up working out really well. and then it just turned into a shit show. But that's how I gave the excuse to my branch manager. Said, yeah, my dad's 100% disabled, the whole 9 yards. The business can't go to my younger brothers because they can't get out of bed and show up to work on time. And that was my branch manager, who's notorious for saying no, said, you got 30 days. If you can get me your retirement orders in 30 days, I'll let you retire, is basically. So I hand carried everything. I called in every single favor to command sergeant major, to colonels, to every, hey, I knew somebody, I worked for you, you were the commander, I did this, now you're working over here, and help me out. And in 3 weeks, I had my retirement orders, which was unheard of. So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I was ready to get out. Brett Ewelton, hey, welcome, Brett. Says, my parents bought a block of land in 74, be worth $1 million now, but Dad evaded. Oh no. Oh, we got a good story here. But Dad evaded the tax and got busted. Had to sell the block. Still my real dad, though. Lots of tax evaders in the early 70s. What is it with there's death and taxes. You gotta do it. Either you prolong it and put the taxes off until later, do what is it 1041 or 1039 exchange, whatever it is. You can defer the taxes indefinitely, whatever. But yeah, a lot of people got into that in the 70s and the 80s. My stepdad didn't get into that until later, but yeah. Hank says, real estate investing in Korea seems to be a totally different world with their mortgage scheme, very different than in the USA. Yes, it is. And we bought the apartment that we're in now, so that's all paid off. And we're looking at buying another apartment. So either we're going to look for a country home. It depends if we can find something that we like, and something that has a bigger workshop, to do the 3D printing and stuff like that. The wife's like, if we can find a place, we'll live out in the country, so that way I can have a big room to do printing and painting and all that stuff. But we're either going to stay here if we can't find a place like that, and we'll buy another apartment and we'll rent that out, and then some of that money will go to feeding my 3D addiction hobby. And yeah, real estate is going up. Real estate is going up. It keeps going up, just like everywhere else, basically. But their system is definitely different. For us if you were going to buy with financing, you think in the United States you got to put 20% down or whatever. No, in Korea you got to put like 40, 50% down, and then you got to do your payments. In the first 5 years, we found out that you can't pay towards the principal, so the bank gets guaranteed profit out of the deal. And then after that 3 or 5 years, then you can start paying extra towards the principal to pay off early and do that. But yeah, you got a huge down payment. So we've got enough going now to where we can buy another apartment outright. Not a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, but it'll be a 3-bedroom, 2, be smaller, obviously, but we could rent it out and we could still pull, after management and stuff like that, we could probably pull about $1,100 or $1,200 a month. So after expenses. So yeah, that'd be good. Heck says, where would it be? Countryside sounds super dope, to be honest. Yeah, that would be. I haven't been to Jeju-do, but there are some cool houses over there. Jeju-do, for those of you who don't know who are watching, you have the Korean Peninsula, and then on the southern tip, it's about, you can take a ferry. There's an island called Jeju-do. Do means island, but Jeju-do, and it's kind of a big resort spot. It's not as big as like Hawaii or anything, but I mean it's a pretty well visited place, and they've got a number of properties down there. A lot of Chinese are buying up properties in Jeju-do, so I kind of floated that idea of maybe buy an apartment down there and rent it out. But you know what? I'm gonna bank on an apartment here because of the U.S. military and the contractors. They're gonna be around for a long time, and so I think the rental The long-term rental is going to be more solid here. Chejudo, everything needs to get shipped and ferried and whatever. It's only like an hour, 2 hours or whatever. It's not that bad. But I just like, but we looked at it. But we wouldn't get a lot for our money. So that's the other thing. If we bought a property there, it would be like a small condo. So I'm not sure about that. So yeah, we're either going to look for a country house that I could have a bigger workshop area. We can kind of be away from the city. Then we'd rent out this apartment, which is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, which now we're talking about, instead of pulling in like $1,100 a month with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, this place would probably bring in maybe $1,400, about $1,500 a month if we rented it out to military or contractors. So, Seoul and surrounding, always a safe bet. But they're limiting, like Gangnam and some other places in Seoul, they're limiting what properties foreigners can buy because they're trying to stop the real estate just keeps going up and up and up in those areas. So, and it's too expensive. It's too rich for our blood. So, I mean, it would be. There's people that are, the wife and I, we just saw a news thing where a guy's like, he took his life savings, took out loans, bought an apartment in, I don't know, it was Gangnam or something, one of the big areas, and sat on the property for 2 years, and he ended up making big bank. And so he's going to do the same thing, sold it, make a bunch of money, lather, rinse, repeat type of thing, get a bigger apartment, and because property prices just keeps going up, it's insane. So he's like working 2 jobs, everything is going, he's surviving off of ramen noodles and rice and whatever. But yeah, he's going to be making bank in the end. You do what you got to do. He's going to make bank, and there's a lot of other people doing that as well. So, yeah. Hack says, better do it step by step for sure. Yeah, we're just small little people, and that's part of the kind of our thing is that, like, say if my wife passes away, I'll have an apartment to live in, I'll have an apartment to rent out and make money again. And then if I pass away, the same thing. The wife could probably go in the 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, then rent this place out. She'll have income from that, of course, life insurance and some other stuff. So it's all part of the plan anyway. But we're also thinking about maybe financing an apartment. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do that. I'm not sure. Because you got to put such half down, which we can afford. We can afford to put down 100%. But to put down half, it depends on what the interest rate is. Foreigners are going to get a higher interest rate than Korean citizens. Skin tax, you're going to get that. But to leverage out that money and then rent out that 3-bedroom, 2-bath is kind of putting our toe in the water to see how that works out, rent it out. And if we only make $500 a month after expenses and paying off the mortgage, or even $200 or $300 a month, even $200 a month, the property's going to increase in price. So you can do that with one and then do it with 2. Now you have 2 appreciating properties and you're still in the clear, and you just need to have an emergency fund for each property. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, running the numbers, definitely got to run the numbers. So we're looking into that. We're not looking at doing this until like February or March of next year. Definitely after February. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully there'll be a market crash. People, you have motivated sellers, and we'll get good deals. And yeah, that's what happened with this place. Motivated sellers needed money fast, and this was kind of out of our budget that we had set for ourselves for this 4-bedroom, 2-bath, but the deal was just too good to be true. and the the value of this property has already gone up like about $50,000 from 3 years ago, about 2.5, 3 years ago, whatever it is when we bought it. So yeah, about 2 3/4 years. It's already gone up in price 50 grand. So if we sold now, it would be a real good deal. But the prices just keep going up. So we're living in it. It's paid off. So, no big deal. But yeah, thinking about running the numbers on that second or maybe second or third property. If we could do it just dip our toe and try the financing and see how that works out. And then we have a big emergency fund, obviously. Then yeah, we might buy a second one. We'll see what happens. Hack says, is there a market crash often in Korea? Feels like a very wild market because the leverage owners can get with tenants, so-called deposits worth a lot of the property. Yeah. Back in '97, when the IMF came and did the bailout for Korea, there was a number of variables that came into play for that. A lot of it had to do with kind of loaning out too much money and not getting it. There was that. People, businesses, the chaebol is like the big businesses and the family businesses in Korea. A number of them were overextended, and a number of them went away. A bunch of companies went bad. And so the IMF had to jump in and do that. So there's a drop in real estate there. But now that the economy isn't doing well, and the won exchange rate is almost 1,500 won to the dollar, which is kind of scary for Korea. It's good for us because we get paid in US dollars. So hopefully, I don't wish bad things on people, well, certain people. But I don't wish bad things for Korea, but it looks like people are going to have to tighten their belts. And so there looks like there could be an opportunity within the next couple of years to end up getting some good deals, because people are overextended in debt and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's a possibility of getting some good deals. So we'll see. Hack says, dun dun dun. I was looking to buy in Japan because it barely cost anything, but then the visa is the tricky problem. Yeah, Japan is cracking down on visas big time, and there's a lot of properties that you can buy in Japan. Really inexpensive, but how do you stay there? Especially with the new prime minister cracking down on immigration in Japan. It's really rough. Let's see. Starkiller says, if I can get all these minis printed by Friday, I can probably get a solo gameplay video for some OPR games. Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, the printing out isn't hard. It's the painting. But the Speed Paint 2.0, holy crow, that makes painting so much easier. I got the Army War Painters and stumbled through and learned how to paint and do all that stuff with that. And then I got some airbrush paints from Army War Painter. And then I saw the Speed Paint 2.0. If you want some good colors and some quick painting to get minis on the table and hit the ground running, Speed Paint 2.0 is the way to go. You just do your white zenithal, boom, put on your speed paints, and it's a done deal. It is probably the easiest way to do it. K Diaz, what is the layer height of this print model? Yeah, what we're doing is we're taking a look at this miniature, which is about 30 to 35 millimeters tall, is at a 0.08 layer height using the stock 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So we're going a little small. It's going to take a little bit. We've got about 51 minutes left, but the details on that 0.08 should come out really good. This will be the first mini that I printed out on the K2 Plus, so we'll see how that goes. Starkiller says, I have the entire set myself. Speed Paint 2.0. Oh yeah, they're good. I love them. It just makes everything. It just makes things so easy. It says he also got the paint markers. Also, they are good. You know what? I just ordered some of those. Matter of fact, they are, let me see if I can pull this up. Need a web page. Because I ordered them off of Amazon. And because we can get stuff here in Korea from Amazon, just certain things. So they should be arriving Sunday. And it's the Just Art. Let me show you. No. Why is it showing the Diamond Tech when it should be the... It's not doing what I want it to do. Holy crow. I think we got a technical difficulty, but I can fix this. So, this is what I ended up getting. So I just ordered these, and these should be coming in Sunday or Monday. The Just Art, I've seen like a lot of people give some good reviews on those, so we're going to give those a shot. I was kind of interested in that, so we'll see how those go. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, so we'll give those a shot. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen more and more people on YouTube trying out the acrylic paint markers. Some people have had some really good experience with them, and these seem to be a good reviewed product, so we'll see how that goes. Hack says, is it possible to show the software used for a 3D printer, or is it on a separate computer? No, it's on this one here. It is, but the problem is seriously, I'm not sure why why I can't get another page. Let me see if I can. Camera, overlay, camera, blah, 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 overlay, new, widget, screen share. I don't know why my other one's not working. It's stuck on stupid. It is stuck on stupid. Let's go back to here. No, it is stuck on stupid. Let me see if I can get the, hold on. Let me try something here. Let's get back to some comments. Yeah, I'll show you the software. It's a Creality print software. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Starkiller says another good brand of paint markers are called play markers. Oh, okay. K. Diaz says, that's interesting, and the nozzle diameter is 0.4 or 0.2 or smaller for this tiny miniature. It's a 0.4 millimeter standard nozzle, but the layer line is 0.08. That's the smallest that you can go on the 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So we'll see how it goes. But some other people, we found out that you can get like smaller nozzles so that you could even get smaller layer height and you get more details. So there's that. Starkiller says, too many tabs open. Actually, that bottom row that you see on the bottom, that's not, those aren't open tabs. Those are, it's kind of like a start bar. And it's, so if I wanted to start a program, it's just like a shortcut. So it's not really that whole deal there. It's not like I got a gazillion things. I've only got like, what is it? I got the Ecamm software, I got Creality Print open, and yeah, that's what we got. I just think there's a glitch in the matrix, because I should be looking at the Creality Print software, and we're not for some strange reason. Oh, on the top? Oh, for the oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, on the top. Oh, yeah. He's talking about the browser. So yeah, I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I do got a lot. I guess I could try closing some of that. Yeah. I was looking at some of the Department of Corrections stuff, some of the news. I was trying to catch up on the Department of Corrections in Colorado, and there's actually a guy that I knew that I worked with that got busted for soliciting a 14-year-old. It was really rough. I got so much.
There's nothing worse than spending time.
Yeah, let's close that. Uncle Jesse.
These pieces are not ironed, but I found.
Not iron. And there's that. I can close that. I can close that. Yeah, I could probably close a bunch of this stuff up. Close the Amazon. Okay. So I only have 3 tabs on my browser now. So let me see if maybe I could do a double take on this, and we'll go back to this. No, that's not what I want. I want that, but I want an overlay, or I want a, how am I going to do this? What do I want? I want to add new empty scene. And how can I change that to the desktop? There we go. Okay. And let's move this around. And let me get to do a little bit of an overlay here. No camera overlay. I'll throw this in here. I'll put that up in that corner. And I can change a little bit of stuff. Come on. Come on. Come on, little doggy. You gotta hit that and do that, and I can make myself a little bit bigger. Okay, so I think we're good. Alrighty, so this is the program that I'm using. Dun, dun, dun. Hack says OBS can be tricky at times. This is the Ecamm Live. Is that I'm using. Let's see, too many tabs. Am I doing the same thing on top? Okay, so the question was before, K Diaz says, I have a Creality High printer and recently purchased a 0.2 nozzle on AliExpress. Can't wait to try printing miniatures as a Christmas gift. Okay, cool. Yeah. So as we jump into here, so there's a little dude that we're doing, little orc dude, and just kind of did that and the base. And so over here we got the 0.08 standard quality for the global, and as you can see the layer height is 0.08. Pretty much everything is the same. For strength we did 2 wall loops because it's 32 millimeters. It's not a big deal. I did 5% infill with adaptive cubic for the infill pattern. And we go over to speed. The only thing I changed here was the overhang speed. I set that to 60, and that was a recommendation of somebody who does a ton of printing. And then Starkiller recommended using tree support slim. I did on build plate only, but I kept my top Z distance at 0.24. It did recommend, a message popped up and said, set it to 0. But I went against that, so we'll find out if that was, what I did was good or not. But Starkiller went with the default, and he's had some real good results. And of course, there's no prime tower. We ended up doing an outer brim, and boom, we ran with that. And yeah, so we'll see. That is what we got. See if we can get back on there. So yeah, it's still printed out. Still doing good. Alrighty. Now this one's all jacked up. Oh, that's because I moved the... Let me see if I can I move this? Now I need to change some stuff. So I'm gonna do this. No, that's not what I wanted. Is it this? No. Come on, back. We're just trying to get everything dialed in so we can get a little bit closer, so I can blow this up so we can see a little bit better on what's going on this thing, on our K2 Plus cam. There. Looks like we're not doing too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's catch up on some comments. Hey, K Diaz, yeah, tell me about your Creality High. Do you like that? I've had a number of people that picked that up and said they really enjoy it. They've gotten some real good results with that. So, yeah, it should be good. Star Killer says, a former friend of mine, DOC in Virginia, he tried reaching out, listened to the voicemail, and told me the DOC had banned. He is banned from calling me. Oh, no. Because of what he went to DOC for. That's not good. He said, just like you remember, the print times will be double, if not triple. Oh, talking to K Diaz with the miniature thing. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Hack says, I'd love to see behind the scenes on the printer. Haven't started my own printing journey yet. Thank you for sharing. Oh, you're welcome. It's just kind of fun stuff to do. Star Killer says, I'll have to try the 0.2 distance, the top Z distance, and see if it makes it easier to remove. And basically what that is doing is setting up a space between you have your support, and then you have an interface layer, and then you have a space, and then you have your model on top of that. So it puts that little bit of space in between there. So that way the PLA or whatever filament you're using, it gives it some time so you get some support, but it's easier to take off than the stock setting. And there's a whole, who was it? It was Uncle Jesse that had some overhang models that you could test out. So you could do like stock, and then you could do a series of tests with overhangs, and you know how hard or easy it is to take that off of the model, the supports. Then you can kind of dial in your filaments for the overhangs and then for your supports in that interface layer. And I found that 0.24 is really good. That's pretty much my go-to, what I end up using. So when I do the swords or the helmets or any of that stuff, boom, just sweet, beautiful. Supports just come off great. And they still support. So, and I've recently seen a number of people putting out that they do 0.27. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it depends on the printer, the filaments, because again, you got to dial it in for your stuff. So, but yeah, so much easier to take off supports at the 0.24. It's my go-to. So. Yep, behind the scenes, seeing what goes on. Let me go take a look-see, and I'll see how that looks. See what the machine says as far as how much time. Because there is sometimes some difference between the model or the machine versus what Creality Print says. We've got 37 minutes left. And the base looks good. I got a little bit of so we had a little bit of a mess on the brim on the base there. I think that's salvageable. But we've got 36 minutes left, according to the K2 Plus, and no, it says on here we got 36 minutes left. So it seems like we're close, but it looks like it's doing okay. Just the brim around the base, that piece on the right, on the back side of that, the brim was kind of messed up a little bit. And I think it's because I didn't put glue stick on that far back on there. So we'll see how that goes. Cool. So that's what we got going on there. I don't know. Let's see. Star Killer says lowest I've seen is a 0.28 or even 0.3 depending on the printer. Wow. Yeah, that would be wild. Hack says Trump just announced some new battleships. Wonder where they were preparing for. Maybe the 2030 catalysts a few have been theorizing about. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that, but the battleships probably going to head towards Venezuela. I'm going to take a wild guess. Maybe that's where they're going to be heading. A lot of interesting stuff going on there. A lot of drugs, and which is a shame because Venezuela oil reserves. I mean, it was like super awesome place, and then the government went downhill, and then yeah, there's so much corruption over there. The people of Venezuela, the normal people like us, I feel so sorry for them, because their government went rogue and just horrible. They have so much going for them, but they're, I don't know, reminds me of my parents, defrauded the company, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. K. Diaz says, I bought a Creality High not so long ago, and I've already encountered some problems. Most of these problems were caused by the previous owner's carelessness. Oh, okay. So hopefully you got a good deal on it. He says, I'm waiting for spare parts from Creality support team to fix it, but I can already see that the printer is very beautiful and have a lot of metal and innovative features. Yeah, there's some, it's what you can get for the price. You can get some really good stuff. And of course, you get the pieces to fix it. You have that intimate knowledge of like, oh, I know how to fix this because I did that, or, oh, I know how to clear a clog, or, it's not so foreign to you after you, get your hands on the machine, and man, it's going to be interesting. Russia exited all their diplomats this week in Venezuela. I wonder why. Imagine that. That is going to be an interesting little thing. Star Killer was talking about, and he says Creality High is basically a K2 Plus, but in bed slinger form. And the CFS can be hooked up to it. It is also wonderful. Yeah, some good stuff. So many good printers out there. But then there's people that get the lemons, I was chatting with a guy, and he was ready to get rid of his printer. And what printer did he have? He had like the K2, the K1 or the K2. Wasn't the K2 Plus, but it ends up that it's like he got into like the profiles for the filament. So when you go to the slicing program in Creality Print, and you can select, whatever profile, 0.12 or 16 or whatever. And then he had changed some stuff in the profile for that filament. And of course you got to save it. And then some of the things that he changed in there really messed it up. So he was getting some really, really bad readings. And he kept using that same messed up profile. And so he was ready to call it in. And I was like, dude, just show me what you got. Take some pictures and whatever, send them to me. And tell me, show me what's going on. Well, going through and looking at Creality Print on my profiles, the stock profiles versus what he had went through and changed some stuff that he wasn't supposed to change. And I showed him how you could go down to the system presets, just pick one of those, Creality PLA, just the normal stuff, and he started getting really good prints. So, yeah, he messed with the flow rate and I think the pressure advancer, definitely the flow rate he had messed up, and it was really causing some problems. So, yeah, that could screw you up. And it's like there was a guy that I knew that he ended up buying a van from a church because the van kept breaking down. And all it ended up being was like the cable that went from, the distributor to the spark plugs. The cables were bad, and it kept, acting like it wasn't firing on all fours or whatever it was. And it was in a condo line van, whatever it was, and they were sick of it. And he's like, hey, he bought it from them, and, he towed it back to his place, and then he's going through, and he's like, hey, got a new distributor cap, boom, everything is working. Apparently some of the cables to the spark plugs were jacked up and ran like a top. So it was pretty good. You get some good deals. Let's see, what else do we got? Hack says the U.S. has stopped 3 oil tankers. So far, pretty big deal. Yeah, and they've stopped a lot of drug dealers too. When you've got a cigar boat that's got like 6, 7, or 8 giant motors on there, and they have these big packages of nothing but bales of drugs. Countries got to reel in their but unfortunately, I think that's kind of like Venezuela, North Korea, things like that. They're doing these things and they're getting into these wrong activities instead of policing up drug dealers and doing what's right. They're right in there with them, and that's causing problems. So I don't know what the play is with Venezuela though. I know some people are like, oh, Trump's going to take over Venezuela, it'll be the 52nd state or whatever. It's like, well, I don't know about that, but that'll be an interesting thing there going. I don't know. And the oil tankers, there's something else going on with that. There's probably some sanctions going on. I haven't educated myself on all that. K. Diaz says, I bought it for $100 for the combo version with the CFS, talking about the Creality High. So I think it's a good deal since I've had experience with other Clipper printers. Cool, $100. That's not bad at all. It's broke. I mean, how broke is it? Probably just need a few parts, and those, you can get a good deal. That's awesome, man. I'm hoping it'd be nice if somebody in Korea bought a printer and they're leaving and they can't take it with them, and I could get it for dirt cheap, but it doesn't seem to be like that. Haven't run into that yet, so still keeping my fingers crossed. Buying stuff like that I got to buy it on the economy here in Korea, so there's some VAT tax, there's some fees. I get, anything that gets sent from China to here to Korea, I'm going to pay a little bit more than the average person in the United States. But it's not too bad. So looking at maybe another K2 Plus, or as some of the other people know, I've been thinking about the Prusa Core 1L. I've been thinking about that. And with the index that's supposed to be coming out in second quarter next year, by summer next year or whatever, with the index system, which is like $350 for the big thing, and then the individual induction coil heating heads is going to be like $30 or $35 for each one of those. Not that I don't do a lot of multi-material printing, but I think the cool factor would just be awesome. I don't know. We'll see. George says, but they're just fishing boats and a fishing submarine, according to a few politicians. Yeah. Fishing boats with, 5 or 6 or 7, 10,000 horsepower motors on the back with bales of, drugs. What are, that are all wrapped in plastic and the whole night. Yeah, they're fishermen. Right. Fishermen don't have the money to buy. A regular fisherman doesn't have the money to buy one of those motors. So, you can't trust politicians either. And a fishing submarine. Hack says, can you show the proofs on the website or the absolute high-end dream printer there is for you? I think I can do that. Let's see if we can get on to, can we do the desktop? Is it going to stop being stupid? I think, yeah, I think we can. Let's go back to this and that. Now we got a bunch of windows. Okay, so let me take a look at Prusa. And because I am so close to that Prusa. And that's, what in the heck? Got some weird language. That's not what I want. Holy crow. What are we doing? Having all kinds of weird things going on. Prusa 3D. Try to get there. And seriously. English. I want English, please. Please. Please give me the English. Okay. I think we got it. And can we do that? No? Can we do this? There we go. So, so there it is. So we're in South Korea, but it's in English and it's in US dollars. And blah, 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 blah. So South Korea, there's my zip code. Of course, the carrier is going to be 165. So a total of $1,700. And let's see that on top of it. Okay, so with the shipping, we're looking at $1,878. And that's for the Core 1L and a smooth PEI sheet. Why did I put two? I only want one. Okay, let's redo everything here. Now we'll do the shipping. And so it'll be $1,800. So about $1,850 is what it'll come out to. Because I think I'll end up getting another nozzle or something just as a backup there. But the Core 1L, yeah, that looks like a good one. No advanced features or anything. $1,600 base price, but that looks like, oh, it is so tempting, so tempting. Dun, dun, dun. Ultimate high-end dream printer. I don't know if this is the ultimate high-end dream printer, but I think it's dreamy enough, because if you put the Bondtech Index multi-heads on there, that would be pretty damn good. I'd be happy. I don't think there's another printer out there right now that I would want to get more than this. I thought about the Bamboo H2C, either with the single head or the double with the new Vortex system that they have. But I was looking at that, and I have some complaints about, I got some complaints about Bamboo and how they do business or whatever. It's neither here nor there. I mean, really. But it takes longer to change the heads on the Vortex system, where it's shorter with the Index, with Prusa, when that comes out, in the summer next year or whatever. So you're looking about, I saw a couple of different things were saying, to change from one color to another on the Prusa Core 1 or the Core 1L with the Index system is going to take about 15 seconds, depending. 11 to 15 seconds is kind of that range. But with the Bamboo, with their Vortex system, it takes like 30 seconds, 30 to 35 seconds per change if you're with the second nozzle. And I like what Prusa's doing. I like their commitment to quality and all of that stuff, and how now they're even talking about how they're going to have a closed system. Not a closed system, but if you don't want it hooked up to the internet, to be able to make the thing work, they're not doing that. So the security side of the house for Prusa is really enticing, because they're not forcing you into an infrastructure that requires you to hand over a bunch of information of what you're printing, where you're printing, your network, any of that stuff, access to files, keystrokes, the whole 9 yards that a lot of Chinese companies do. So that is really, and it's a good printer. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that looks really good. Hack says, by the way, if a new mic, but audio quality really improved on the stream, props for always improving the setup. Yeah, I try. You know, I got the little DJI wireless microphone and I've dialed it in a little bit. So that's why I can walk around and talk, and it sounds pretty decent. So yeah, thank you. I try to do the best for you all. Hack says, Prusa is the OG company in 3D printing. Veterans One might say. Yeah, Prusa is pretty good. You got to admit, Prusa is pretty good, but there still are some things that, like automatic pressure advance. That's not a thing. I mean, eventually I think it will be a thing, but why isn't it not a thing with the Core 1 and the Core 1L? I just don't get it. Other companies do it. Bamboo does it. I don't understand why. The Core 1 and the Core 1L come out with a camera, but you have to scan you have to pull the camera out, scan a QR code that is on the camera, and then hit the app and do all this stuff. It's like, seriously, nobody does that. That is so outdated. So that's one of the things that bugs me about Prusa is it ends up, it's like, no, just stop that. It's not, just make it all work. I don't want to have to pull the camera and scan and to get the camera to work. And it took forever to get a camera on a Prusa, you got to admit, when everybody else has been doing it. Yeah, that really bugged me. I was just like, seriously, you guys are awesome, but get with the times. But I like their upgradability of their machines on how it's upwardly compatible and you can, do all that stuff. Let's see what we got going on. Maybe I can. So there it is. Hack says, MakerBot's Prusa Butterfly were the first companies I ever heard when I started. Yeah, MakerBot. That was way back in the day. And even Prusa with the the old Enders, of course that wasn't Prusa, but yeah, some of the older systems, you spend more time tinkering than you were printing. But yeah, it's amazing how far 3D printing has come. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Doing multicolors and different filaments and the different types of filaments that you could do is insane. Carbon fiber, glass filled, this and that, whatever, ABS, ASA, and crazy, crazy. Kate Diaz says, I really like SnapMaker U1, but it's still on Kickstarter and gaining an audience. It'll be interesting to see how it performs and its cost on the used market. The U1, I'm surprised that didn't turn more heads and got more hype. It is really, really impressive. I thought about getting that and doing the Kickstarter thing, but then I was like, no, because they're going to come out later with a bigger one. So let them work out all the kinks. But the used market, yeah, that could be good. Let's see what we got. Starkiller sent an email. Sent an email. So let's see what he ended up sending. No dirty pictures. Just giving you a heads up. Not that he does that. Dun, 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 dun. And, oh, okay. So we got some stuff. So Starkiller here is going to be doing some other stuff. He's going to be, let's see, throw this up here. Boom! So those are some of his next minis that he's going to be printing. So get this a little bit smaller. So he's doing another chunky monkey there. Tabletop gaming, that looks pretty good. Now let's see what else he's got. He's got his baby dice tower. Let's see how that goes. Kind of a little plug and play little dice tower deal. Boy, that is a mini one. Mini dice tower. Ah, cool. Now let's see, he's got one more? Yep, one more. Oh, and he's got his printers. So he's got some resin printers. He's got a, let's see, that other one, that one came out really, I don't know if we're going to be able to see that. That's, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, it was scanning, that's what it was doing. Okay, the first one came out like there's a demon-possessed blurriness to it. So it's, let's see, he's got, is that going to show up? No, it's not. We're going to have to do, seriously. So he's got, hey dude, desktop, does that show up? Yep, so he's got the little printer action there. So he's got the Creality printer. I don't want to, let me, I'm trying to do this so I don't, I want to make sure I don't get any personal information out there. So let's do another one. So a couple Crealities, jamming out and doing that. Good, good. I just want to pre-screen everything and make sure I don't be, he's like, no, don't show that. And then he's got a little bed slinger Creality with CFS going. Oh, you got quite the setup there. Nice. He's been rocking it. Cool, cool. Good stuff. More than what I've got, that's for sure. So he's got the K2 in the bedroom. That must have been the first one. And then the resin printer he's got. And yeah, cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see where we are on our K2 cam. We're getting there. We've got about 13 minutes and 45 seconds left. So we're getting there. Am I the only one that you're printing stuff out and it has multiple items on it and the one item is done and the other one's still printing and you just want to take the one item that's done and take that off the build plate before it's done printing? But you're kind of like, I want to take it off, but I don't want to screw up the print that's currently printing, but I still want to take it off. Yeah, I go through that. Let me go take a closer look and see what that's doing. Okay. Interesting. Looks like we got some details. Yep, I'm getting there. 12 minutes. 12 minutes. I think we can hang on. I wasn't expecting to do this long of a stream. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon here in Korea. But it's still rocking it. Pretty good. 12 minutes and counting. Well, on the Creality print it says 12 minutes and 23 seconds. But on the machine it said 12 minutes when I was in there. But looking pretty decent. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. Good stuff. So, some other big projects we're looking at doing. Again, the Doom Eternal Slayer armor from Galactic Armory. Looking at doing that. So that's going to be kind of the big thing there. Starkiller says it is 1:30 a.m. in Illinois. Bro, why are you up? I would so be in bed. I would be out. I would be out. Usually we go to bed about 10 o'clock, 10-ish, sometimes 11. Some days, depending, like if it's a hard gym day, I'll fall asleep on the couch and it'll be like 9 o'clock and it's like, yeah, I gotta go to bed. But today was an off day. So tomorrow is back to the gym. And what is tomorrow? I have I've got kind of like a new schedule-ish. Let's see, what do we got going tomorrow? Because Monday I did shoulders and legs. And tomorrow's going to be bicep, triceps, then another legs day on Thursday, and then back and chest on Friday, and then 2 days off, and then repeat everything again. So we'll see how that goes. Star Killer says, I got to be up at 6 a.m. anyway, so Red Bull in 5 hours for me. He's grinding it out. Christmas Eve. Oh, my wife is coming back. Hey, sweetie. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Good, good, good.
I needed it.
You needed it? That's good.
Talk about God and Bible.
Good, good. Just making a video.
Oh, okay. Well, you were making a video earlier, so I thought you were done.
No, still ended up just talking and chatting and still going, so.
Sorry.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry, no. Big Xandroid shows up and says 11:35 for me, but I'm printing on YouTube, watching One Piece and updating my Plex server. Printing and on. Yeah. Can't remember what episode I'm on that One Piece, but I think I'm about halfway through that first season. So it's been oddly enjoyable. So between that and Arcane on Netflix, I've been watching that. And what was another one? Another one was like the D&D. I can't remember the name of it. It was animation, D&D. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a good series. I kind of like that. That was kind of enjoyable as well. Really looking forward to Warhammer with Henry Cavill. That could be awesome. I hope that is awesome. I hope it doesn't go crazy stupid. We'll see how that goes. Season 22, like episode 1000 or something. Wow. Oh, you must be talking about the anime. The anime series. I'm just talking about the One Piece live action. I was watching that. I haven't done, like I said, the only anime thing that I've watched is that Arcane. And that's kind of like a recently newer one. I haven't looked at barely any of the old stuff. So if there's something like Warhammer-ish, we'll see what happens. Make some recommendations or something like that. George pops up and says, I'm cautiously optimistic, referring to the Warhammer. Yeah, I know. Henry Cavill can kill it. Him being Geralt, that series, that could have been so awesome. And then they screwed that up. And then, what was the other one? The Superman. I don't know why they didn't bring back him as Superman again. The dude could have made so much bang for them. Get a good story, throw Henry Cavill in there, and that's a guaranteed moneymaker. But they didn't. They got that other Yahoo, and yeah, I understand it's a different time and a different uniform for Superman and all that stuff. But that bombed. I saw that and I was just like, oh, this is just, I'm ashamed. It was. But then again, so many of the other superhero movies had ended up bombing lately. And it's just, I guess the younger generation just doesn't know how to tell good stories anymore or write good stories. It's just so disappointing. So I go back and I watch the older stuff. And With some other good shows. Justified. I like Justified. I like Mayor of Kingstown. I like that. What is always a good one? The other series, that, Yellowstone. I like that. Landman. That was good. What was the one with Stallone and him going to Oklahoma or whatever? I forget the name of that one. That was a really good one. I like that. I was surprised at how well that was. Big says, can't wait for season 2 of the live action. Yeah, I'm bated breath. I'm waiting. Starkiller says, leave it to Netflix and Disney to screw up stuff. I know. The other show that I liked was Vikings. That was an awesome one. I really enjoyed that. Game of Thrones, kind of, sort of. Last season sucked. I don't understand how that happened. I don't know. Star Wars used to be good. Now it's not, in my opinion. I don't know. George says, because James Gunn hates Superman. It's almost like they're too big to fail. You know, you get so big, it's like, oh, whatever I say is rule is law. And it's like, no, please no. His new Fire and Water, or Water and Ash, or Fire, Ash, Water, or whatever it is, the new Avatar movie. It's not good. It's not good. I saw it. It's not. I wasn't impressed at all. It was hard to stay awake. It was just like, it didn't really bring anything new to the table, unfortunately. The first one is great. I love that. The second one, of course, you know. But third one, yeah, it was just rough. I don't know. Starkiller says, have to restart PC. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, yeah. We got about 4 minutes left, so rock it out. Restart. We'll see you in a few. Supposedly we got 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. And we'll see how this mini does. I watched the 3-hour Avatar. It was hard. It was hard to watch. Good Lord, that was hard. That was rough. Cross it off the list. It was like, it's not going to be a memorable movie. It probably cost a buttload of money, and people are going to go see it, but people are not going to remember it. It's not going to be like a movie that sticks out where people are going to think back and say, you know that third Avatar movie, Fire, Ash, Water, or what, Fire and Ash, or whatever? No one's going to remember that. No one's going to. It's just not memorable at all. I don't know. First one was memorable. We'll see. I will see. Big says, there's an anime I know that you'll probably enjoy. Just have to find it. Excuse me. I'm all for trying stuff out. I like the action. I like good stories. The Warhammer-ish type of stuff. Even D&D type stuff. Because I used to play D&D before I went into the Army way back in the day. I first did D&D back in like 1980 or 81, I think it was. And that was crazy. Gary Gygax was the man. He was the man. Okay, he's got an anime. It says Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga. I'll have to look that up. Let me see if we can. I can't do that without. No, I can. Let's see. I just have to bring it up on a. So there's Vinland Saga. It says, because we don't want to step in the way of the printing cam, it says a historical manga series by Makoto Yukimura about a young Viking, Thorfinn, seeking revenge for his father's death which evolves into a quest for a peaceful land called Vinland, exploring themes of war, slavery, and pacifism. The series, known for its historical fiction and philosophical depth, ran from 2005 to 2025, including a 29-volume and 220 chapters. Oh, holy crow. Wow. I will check that out. It might be on Netflix. If it is, oh joy. It looks like it is on Netflix. Oh, I will definitely try that out. So the anime is a little, kind of a little funky looking little thing, 25-minute episodes, that's not bad. But if it's got, how many seasons? Let's see, how many seasons of Vinland Saga on Netflix? We'll see how many there are. Currently 2 seasons. Season 1 and Season 2 consist of 24 episodes each. Third season has not been officially confirmed, though the story is expected to continue. Cool. Alrighty. We will check that out. Starkiller's back. You made it back. Now it jumped to the remaining time, says 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Biggs says, yeah, 2 seasons. I'll check that out. Thank you. It says 10 minutes. Yeah, I was going to say a couple of minutes, and it was like where it's at now that you can see is like, yeah, it's got a long way to go. Let me go take a look and see. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Machine says 9 minutes. It's getting there. It'll be interesting to see. Interesting. It's getting there. I'm really kind of looking forward to see if the supports, how well those work and everything, because this will be the first mini that I've done on the K2 Plus. Starkiller ends up saying, I've been watching the anime Solo Leveling, the Dungeon City Only I Can Enter, and Bastard. I'll have to pull those up and take a look at those. So we did that. So Vinland Saga, I need to check that out. And Solo Leveling? Is a South Korean fantasy web novel by Chun-gong, serialized by Kako Page, about the weakest hunter Song Jin-woo, who gains a unique ability to level up like a video game character after surviving a deadly dungeon, allowing him to become the world's strongest hunter. Since I'm in Korea, I should probably know that, but I don't. The dungeon only, the hidden dungeon only, I can enter. Japanese fantasy light novel series about a penniless young man named Nor who discovers a secret dungeon filled with powerful items and monsters, allowing him to secretly train and become the strongest adventurer. Okay. George pops up and says, Mobile Suit Gundam 8th MS team was great. It had one of the best mech battles ever. I never really got into the Gundam thing. I do have a Gundam model that's another thing I need to do, is to get on with that. I think I bit off more than I can chew. Let me show you. Yeah. Somebody recommended it, and I saw a smaller model, And I was like, oh, that's too small. I'll get this one. And this has got an incredible amount of parts. And this is insane. I mean, holy crow, look at that. Parts after parts after parts. And these are small ass parts. It's like, oh, I don't know. And the instructions on this, if you all have never seen the instructions on like how to put these things together, it is insane. I mean, this is crazy. I need to do this too one of these days. Oh man, yeah. Maybe I just need to set a day where I do this. But yeah, this is, yeah, the Aegis Zaft, whatever, GAT X308, 303. Yeah. I bit off way too much on that one. That was going to be rough. So we'll see. Starkiller says about George, he agrees with the mech battle thing going on. He says if you like boxing, Megalobox is a good season 2 anime. 26 episodes. Solo Leveling is awesome. I don't know, I've got those pulled up as a reminder, because I'll check some of those out. So we'll see how that goes. I'll definitely try that Viking one. The Vinland Saga, I'll try that. Solo Leveling, I'll check into that. It depends on how it is on Korean Netflix, if it has English. And we'll see. We'll check out a couple of those. Yeah, why not? Why not? We'll see how it goes. Korea's got a lot of manga, that's for sure. They got entire bookstores with just series and series, just books that just go on to no end. So, I don't know. But I haven't read a comic book in ages. It has been decades and decades since I read a comic book. So, my daughter actually got me a couple of comic books. Where the hell did I put those things? She got me some as a present, and I'm like, I don't know what I would do with them. Somewhere I have a couple of comic books. I just don't know where they are now. I don't know. I'll find them somewhere. I think I put them somewhere where they'd be safe. Excuse me, and I don't know where that is now. The joys of getting old. Dun, 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 dun. Let me know. I can put you on my server. Honest, dude's got his own server. Gotta be careful with that, bro. I'll stick with the Netflix thing for right now, though. We'll just rock with that and see what happens. But yeah, if I like a series and I get into it, I'll just latch onto it and I'll keep going. If it's just like dry in some places, especially the first episode, if it just doesn't reach out and grab me, it'll be like, and then I'll never watch it. Supposedly, Big says, all my anime is dubbed. Oh, cool. That always helps. And some of the Korean Netflix, it's kind of like you watch shows, and my Korean is horrible. But then you've got some anime stuff, and it's just like hard to keep up, especially when it's not dubbed in English or whatever. It's just like you start making up your own dialogue. That's kind of funny. Star Killer says an old anime that is good is Claymore. Claymore. Claymore anime. That's on Netflix as well. Half human, half Yoma monster sets out to attain justice against the evil full-bred Yomas, hideous beings who feed ruthlessly on humanity. That's kind of engaging. I wonder what that looks like. It looks like your kind of little manga. I'll have to check that out. Got some good blood and guts action type of stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Visceral, you know, manly, good story. George ends up saying the abridged stuff can be funny as hell. Yeah. Okay. We are done. We are done. Let's go. We will see. Let me, as it goes into the depths. Okay. So let me go run over there. We'll bring the plate over here and we'll see what we got for our mini. With much trepidation, nervousness. 2 minutes, 17 grams of filament. And well, I don't think I'll bring the scraper. I think I'll just bring the whole plate. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Yeah, the back side of this got a little, oh, the bottom was a little boogered up. Check that out. I think the file was kind of messed up on that bottom. Interesting. Let me get my, in there. Oh, here it is. I was looking for my deburring tool. Yeah, I think that was because the model wasn't totally flat, and that's why it ended up being boogered up on that one piece. But the rest of it, it came out pretty good. Except for that little backside, not bad. Let's see. Let's take a look at, there he is. I wonder if we could do it on the, if we can get a little bit of a better view on this camera. So we can see how that looks. Let me turn the overhead light on. Hang with me, hang with me. Maybe get a little bit of better light. So there it is. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. So there it is. Now, what about supports? Okay. That is nice. It's going to be interesting. Trying to keep this in frame. I think we have some problems with the staff because it's all boogered. It's kind of connected up there. So I think the distance from the support to the model is just a little too close. See that staff? I'm gonna need my cutters. So let me go get some cutters. Makes me wonder if it was because of that top Z distance. I had it at 0.24 and it should have been for the trims slim. Ooh. Oh, I cut the, seriously? Wilson. Wilson! Seriously. That's what I get for not paying it. And then I broke it. Seriously. What was I thinking? Okay. Okay, so we broke the staff off. So it kind of looks like he's holding a hammer. But we can put the staff back on. So that's not too bad. I should have paid more attention. I was trying to keep everything in frame. That's my excuse anyway. I'll just try to surgically remove some of these things so we don't repeat the same mistake. And we will do this. And we will cut there. That way that bottom piece comes off. Not bad. And we got all these little pieces here. Those are just really, really close to the model. Ooh. Ooh. Y'all can see that? Not bad. Might be a little. I think that is good. Now we got a little bit of. Oh, that is not bad. I mean, aside from the let's go over here back to the main desk. And back to here. Nope, we want that. Wow. I mean, aside from me screwing up the screwing up that little piece there. That turned out pretty good. I wish I had a better, you know, let's try something else. Let's go back and we'll move this chunky monkey out of the way. Let's see if we can bring the camera down here, and we'll crank this up. Hold on to your hats. I can see that a little bit better. Does that focus in a little bit better? That turned out pretty good. Trying to keep it still. That isn't bad for look at that. That turned out pretty good. Aside from me chopping the staff off, man, I am impressed. I am impressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we printed our first miniature on the K2 Plus. You'd end up throwing him onto the base there, and we would be good to go. Nice. I wish I had some real fast, oh, you know what we can do? We can fix this. Because, hold on a second. What do we want? Paint station. Ta-da. I'm not going to be able to read the comments, but we have some UV resin. We got our UV pen, and we can fix him. We can do it. Just wrap a little bit of this resin around there. Just kind of do that. I think it's good enough. Blast it with some UV light. Just kind of rotate that around a little bit. Just a little, I think it's a AAA battery. Takes a few of those. And we do the UV light. There we go. And we can get that fixed. Seeing that, so it works out pretty good. So we can get that all fixed and happy, and then we can do the piece on there, which is fixable. I'm pretty surprised. We'll drop there, and now thing is trying to get it, put it on there and hold it, and then so it's straight-ish. Which I think we can do. No. Well, not too bad. It's a little off on the back. Seriously. Wilson, come on. But the good thing is, it's easy to fix. So I can just hold it straight. And this might help us if we can get this in here like that. And then this works. Alrighty. Crisis averted. Ah, damn it. We thought the crisis was averted. Seriously. This might be a little ugly, but it's a lot of resin. I think we can get it. We're getting there. I know y'all got some comments, but I can't read them right now because I don't have my tablet on. But this won't take long. Easy there, buddy. Bend it a little bit. Bend it a little bit. Ah, seriously. We're getting there. We will do this. We will fix him. The $6 million man, or the mini man. I think this is good enough. Should have just took a little bit more time before I cut. What are the odds? Let's just throw a little bit on him back and we should be good. We're getting there. We are getting there. We can fix him. And then of course you primer, throw a little bit of white zenithal on there, do some speed paint 2.0, and you will be ready for gaming. Just don't cut off the important things like I did. That turned out really good. I mean, obviously not as good as resin. I think I'm going to do a video where I paint this guy, and we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and we'll put him up on here. So we'll need a little bit on his feet. My wife is cooking. I can smell it. Dinner is close. So we're getting there. We are getting there. I'm pretty impressed for something this small to get the details that we're getting off of this. That is really impressive. There we go. I am pretty impressed. Imagine if you had the 0.25 nozzle. You could get some even better details. And it's like 35 cents for this. Took a couple hours, about 2 hours and 2 hours, 30 minutes or whatever. That's not bad. And you don't have to mess with resin. You don't have to mess with taking it off the plate and the smell of resin and wearing gloves and then having to wash it in an IPA and then scrubbing it because you didn't get all the resin off, and so you got to go back and scrub it again. And then you got to dry it, and then you got to cure it. Yeah, you don't have to do that with this. Wow. I think it's pretty good. Like I said. Let's get all these pieces. Oh. There's a tiny bit of support, just tiny. Get off there. Oh, come on. It's just a super tiny. It's like a booger, like a dingleberry of support that is. There we go. There it is. I don't know how well that's coming out. I am impressed. Look at that. You know, there's a better way to do this. There is a better way. A better way. Okay, let's catch up on. Boom. Okay, we're back. Let's see. Can be salvaged. What's that I'm using? Oh, the stuff is it's from. Let me go get it because I forgot the name. It's Green Stuff World, and it's UV resin. So Green Stuff World UV resin, it's clear, and then you just end up getting like a little UV light pen, and you can put this on there, put on the UV light, and boom, there you go. It's kind of like glue, except it's a faster setting glue. Definitely faster than like super glue or anything like that. Oh, I'm getting hungry. Let me see if we can get, let's see, catch up on comments. Let's see, Big says, has your wife ever printed anything on your printer or suggested a print? She suggested some things. She doesn't do printing. It's not her thing. Let me see if I can get some. I'm going to get some paper and use this as a backdrop, and then I can take some pictures. We're going to have to turn the lights on because that's going to be ugly dark. So we might need some other lighting. Flash on. I just can't get enough light. Hold on. We're gonna. All the stuff I'm doing to try to get this to look good. And here we go. See if we can get some good pictures, and then we can put them up and see the details. Not bad. Let's see if we can get a. That's better. Of course, putting it in black was probably, there we go. Okay, let's see what we got. Now let's see if we can transfer these pictures over. And we will do that, and we can throw them up on the screen so we get a little bit of a better. That one, that one, that one. And we will send these. Oh, let me try to airdrop. Is my airdrop going to work? Yes. Yes, airdrop. Oh, it actually worked. Okay, so here's what we're going to take a look at is the mini. Let's see. Biggs ends up saying, my Pikachu just finished now. I can make my niece a Hello Kitty. A lot of Hello Kitty here in Korea. Okay, so yeah, nice stuff. Let's see. Oh, wait. Do it one at a time. And let's do a little bit of cropping. No, that's not that button, it's that one. And a little bit on that one. And we can blow this thing up a bit. So there it is. Let's see if I can fit me in there some way, shape, or form. So there's the front. Not bad. Not bad at all. And let's go ahead and you can definitely see it's a orc. And then we'll throw in this one here. That's kind of the side view. It's a little muddled. If we take a look at the back is definitely a lot better. So if we take a look at that, that turns out good. Definitely nice. So yeah, I am pleasantly surprised. That turned out well. Besides me cutting this staff off, not bad. Let's see if we can blow this up a little bit more to see more of the details. So you see the armor, the skulls, the chain. That's not bad, folks. That is not bad at all. Wow. Cool. I like it. I think it ended up good. I think we did a pretty good job there. And if it wasn't for Star Killer, I wouldn't even have gotten into this. But because he had printed out some minis on his own and sent me pictures, it was like, hey, yeah. So I think the next video that I'm going to end up doing is we will do a primer on this. We'll airbrush some white primer, and then that way we could end up just going at it with the Speed Paint 2.0 and see what we can get out of this guy and see what he looks like. So yeah, not bad. I wonder if I can get an automatic focus on this camera. Elgato, Longitude, emit. Let me start this and see if maybe, and if I can set this guy up, and then we'll see if we can do an automatic focus on this. So hold on to your hats. Pan, tilt, contrast. It's not really going to zoom in the way I want it to where it's. No, that's going to be the preview. No, I think that's going to be where it's at. Because if we zoom in, it's just going to pixelate and get rough. So Ah, it was close. It was close. Not bad though. Turned out good. Let's see, camera effects, format. No, that's all we're getting there. That's all we're getting there. The picture, exposure, white balance processing. It's weird. You can't get the focus on the Elgato Facecam Pro, or the 2.0 or 4K, whatever the hell it is. Starkiller says it's nice. More mini for your daughter's D&D games. Yeah, and no mess, no resin mess. I like it. I like it a lot. That works out good. Let me try something else. Oh, this might be able to work. Let's see if I can get... Hold on to your hats. Let's try something. Elgato Facecam. Now the question is, will it let me do image adjustments? It does, but it doesn't do focus, manual focus. It's got exposure, brightness, contrast, saturation. Yeah, dang it. And it won't, well, I can zoom. But it's the same thing. It's going to get pixelated and it's not going to be able to do manual focus. Man, I really wish it would do the manual focus. Emit link. I don't think Emit is going to help us, because that's the wrong camera. Yeah, it's only going to look at the... Okay, so there it is. Not bad. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, Starkiller, for putting me onto this. And imagine if you ended up having, again, a 0.25 nozzle and be able to get even smaller, you could get better details on this. So, got a little bit of a... And the supports came off of there pretty well. Do your, Starkiller, do your supports come off using the default settings? Do they come off really easy? Because I have nothing to gauge it with. So I don't know if, watching on how I took the supports off of this, if it seemed easier for me or harder for me. I don't know. Maybe I just need to print another one out using the default settings for the slim supports, tree supports. Another one for the pile of shame. No, but we will paint this guy up. We will prime him and paint him and see how he turns out. And we'll compare it to the other one, because we do have the smaller one. So, alrighty, nope. Yeah, maybe I'll just throw in another one and just do the default settings, and we can see. He says they were hard for him. And again, that distance, that interface distance, is that space. If you don't have, if it's set to 0, it's going to be kind of harder to take off these supports. So, at least that's my understanding. But that's not bad. I mean, it turned out well. I mean, you can see the good details on the back. I just wish this thing would focus. But pretty good. It just needs focus. Seriously. Oh well. We did good. We did good. I think we did good. I like that. Okay. Yeah, this is part 1. So we successfully painted printed a miniature, despite me snapping and cutting off his staff for his hammer. We were able to fix that with the UV resin and UV light pen, so that works out. Good thing we had that. I guess the part 2 video will be tomorrow, We'll do some priming. I think I'll prime this tonight, and then when I do the video tomorrow, we'll go through and we'll do the Speed Paint 2.0 and see what we get. Yeah, it'll be a lot easier to paint though when it's white. So we'll do the white and knock that out and we'll see how it goes. So cool. Alrighty, so everybody who's watching, thanks for joining. I really, really appreciate that. And for everybody that kind of hung in there. And I mean, how long have we been on here? 3 hours and 20 minutes. Wow. No wonder I'm hungry. It's dinner time. I smell it. It's wafting into the room. But some good discussions, good stuff, and had some good storytelling and ages gone by. And you also gave me some good ideas for some anime to check out. So I'm going to be doing that as I watch dinner. So my hat's off to you for the recommendations. I'll give it a shot and see what comes up and see if I like it. So as with all the videos, I appreciate it. Like and subscribe to the channel. That would really help out. And if you want to send me an email or anything like that, the obligatory outro, there's the email. You can send me an email. I always answer. Got some people at Bopping Coffee. Don't worry about that. Just like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any good anime series or models or information about 3D printing or painting or miniatures or retirement overseas, I'm all for it. Or anything else for that matter. So we'll go ahead and let you go. Again, I appreciate every like and subscribe that you do. That is always good for the channel. It's always good for me. It's good for appeasing the YouTube gods. And we can continue on doing more cool stuff like miniatures on the K2 Plus. Apparently that's a thing. And again, what we ended up doing, the 0.4 millimeter stock nozzle, with micro Swiss nozzle, but we set it at a layer height of 0.8 millimeters and it came out good. Surprisingly good. Okay. Alrighty, so we're gonna let you all go. Biggs Android pops in and has the wave, does that. I'm going to do the pinky wave and saying goodbye to everybody. Appreciate it. And hopefully you'll be able to come in and I'll see you on the next video. I know for some of you stayed up late. It's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Y'all need to get some sleep. I'm going to get some dinner and we'll just take it from there. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Peace. That turned out really, really good. Really good. Really good. I like it.